street, but they sound like they were having a lot of fun.
All right, let's hope that this goes up.
Visit them at some point.
Hey, Steve, is it going to do the table partitions?
Yeah. Now, there is, let me go to, okay. If I can find my mouse. There it is. So I'm going to go back to here, go to 224 or 226, whatever class this is. All right, so if I go to the syllabus, I just want to show you, I've already put the code for this on the blog for the sample. It's right there. So it's the first thing on the blog, table partitioning, and it has all the SQL. And most of this can only be done with SQL. There's no graphical interface for it. The first part you could do graphically, but most of it not. And then maybe look at the assignment real quickly. Or we could look at it after. So table partitions. So this actually points to a different sample than the one I just did, but it is relevant. It works. This one will have 5 file groups. You can partition it by the year, and I'll show you how to do that. And basically what it's going to do is it's going to do the shift assignments and break it up by years. This actually divides a table into physical files. The only thing is you really want to do this, you can't do it after the fact. You need to do it on table creation, so you really need to plan this ahead of time. And the reason you would break up a table into physical files is, again, for performance and because you know that table is going to be gigantic. Right, so it's going to have tons and tons of records. And one of the things that it allows you to do is you can actually query each file partition separately, which speeds up retrieval. Okay, so I'm going to go back, and what we're going to do, this time's out too fast. This is my script to remind me. I'm going to do this with mostly with, as I said, the partitioning part you have to do in SQL. There's no graphical interface for it. The creating the database, because we're going to create a database, you have to have file groups, and you have to have files for those different file groups, and you have to have as many file groups as you want partitions, right? Actually, you have to have one more than you have partitions. I'm going to show you how to do that in code, but you could, creating the database with the file groups, you could do graphically. The way we did when we did our database assignment, remember that? So I'm actually going to, first of all, do if exists, because there's a good chance I'll screw this up. And I'm going to say select name from sys. Is this big enough for the back? You want it a little bigger? Okay, let me finish the statement and I'll go. Actually, if I change the font size, it won't actually. All right, let me change the font size real quick. It's going to make me start over, though. So if I go to Tools, Options.
Just do Control mouse wheel.
Yeah.
Does that do it inside this window, too?
Yeah, it does. Until I make it
Oh,
bigger.
yeah, that'll work.
Control mouse.
So sys databases, where name equals, what do we want it? We're going to create a new database. This one's going to have employees. So I'm going to say where name equals employee partition. So we're doing partitions. And I'm just starting off. So this is the beginning and end of the if, and I'm just going to drop that database. Spell those right. After that, I'm going to do go. So what I'm doing is I'm saying when I run this script, if the database is there, drop it, and then we'll make it again. The reason I'm doing this is my experience of typing this is that I screw up a lot. So I make a database right. Rather than have to do everything over, I can just run the script. It'll delete what's there, right? And it will, my brain gone, it will work faster that way. I'm going to use master. Databases are created in master. Generally, you don't have to say that because it knows that. It just sort of knows that databases are created in master. But it's a good idea to do that. Once we've created this database, and I'm going to go through kind of this script and explain it, what we want to do is we want to alter the database and add the file groups. So we're going to divide this on basically everything before 2000. Everything between 2000 and 2004, 2004 to 2009, and 2010 forward. So that's how I'm going to partition it. You don't have to use dates to partition, but dates are a common way to partition these things. So I'm going to create a file group. I'm going to alter database, employee partition. And if you really don't want to type with me, as I said, you could copy and paste the code from the blog. I'm going to add file group. And the file group that I want, I'm just looking to see what I named them in here so I'm consistent. So let's do it as employees 1995 group. It's not a very elegant name, but, and then I'm going to do go, and then I'm going to do add file, and it will be parentheses, name equals employee, and again want to follow the naming I had here. Doesn't matter, but I'm just going to call it employees 1995, comma file name equals, what is it not like about name? I think it's okay. This is a little bit, the easiest way to do this one is to get your file manager, go to the C drive, so local disk C, program files, Microsoft SQL Server, MSQL, and data.
The last one, right?
Yeah, and then data, and then copy that path. Let me see. I'm going to unpin this.
Any place in data or just?
So we just need this much of the path. We still need one more thing, which is the actual. So I'm going to do employees 1995. No, this isn't the group. File, let's just call it file.ndf. Typically, files after the first one are named ndf. Oops, single quote, comma. I wish I could get this all in screen. I can break it like this. I can't break the literal. So it's C program files, Microsoft SQL Server, MSQL12.MSQL server /MSQL/data employees 1995 file.mdf.
What you did, the file numbers you can do word wrap.
Yeah, I could. So options, text editor, all languages. I will word wrap it. Although the danger with word wrap is that you can't actually break your line there. So it's wrapping, but the reason why it generally, why does it not like name?
You close up this.
What? No, I'm not done yet with it. Why does it not like name? Oh, I know why. I need to repeat this line. All right. And then I'm going to do max size. I'm not sure this is required. Equals 200 megabytes. And file growth equals 5 megabytes. And then I'm going to close that and then say on, or not, rather to, file group, employees 1995 group. So that's the complete. So you alter the database, you add the file group, and then you add a file to that file group.
And does that file access 1995?
I have it as employees 1995.ndf.
It actually exists though.
No, this is created.
We're going to create it.
Yeah, and then it will add it to the file group.
Once we
Employees
create the file.
Yeah, this is creating the file at this moment.
Okay.
We haven't run this yet, and I wouldn't yet. So the thing is, we basically need to do this exact same thing like 5 times. So you can do, I'm just going to copy it. I'm going to come down. I'm going to paste it. I will put a go in between.
Should we start by alter database at that place?
Yeah, start with alter database employee partition, add file group, but instead of,
96.
well, not 96. I think the next one is 2000. Just a second. And then just change this to 2000. And then just change this to 2000. And then change this to 2000. So it's exactly the same as the above one. I mean, each, we just change it and go in like, the next one is 2005, I think.
Do we put a go before the new alter database?
It doesn't matter, but you can. it's a good separator, and it probably makes sense. You should do a go before after the add file group, just to make sure that's been accomplished.
So that's where it goes.
So I'm going to do copy and paste that. Actually, I've already still got it in. I'm just going to paste again. And this one will be 2005. And then everywhere else where you had, like the file name has to be 2005. The danger with this is that you won't change something, right? There's several places to change it, and the danger is that it won't get changed someplace. So I'm going to do 2010. And also one for 2015, even though there aren't any records there. I'll review this before we do. So as I said, one more file group. And one reason I've got that database thing at the beginning, if we screw this up, we can just fix our errors and rerun it, right? Otherwise, it would be a pain. You'd have to go in and drop it just manually. So just from the top, we create the database. We alter the database. We add the 1995 group, the employees 1995 file, max size 200, growth file, growth 5, and we add it to the 1995 group. Then we alter the database again. We add the 2000 group, and we alter the database again, and we add the file for employees 2000, change it to 2000 in the path, and 2000 group. 2005, 2005, 2005, 2005, 10, 10, 10, and 10, 2010. This one I haven't fixed, so this is the 2015. That's why it's good to check. 2015, 2015, and that's all of the file group stuff. Does that make sense? So this is how, I mean, this is just doing what you did in your database exercise, except you did it in the graphical. And I'm going to show you what it looks like in the graphical after we're done. It's a good way to tell if you screwed up. What? So it goes up to 2015. They just go up by 5 years each one. I'm going to execute it. Now mine says it completed successfully. What errors? What does the error say?
Oh, yeah, me too. Here.
I think you're missing the copy. You missed all of that. And so you need to alter add the groups before. I think it's the same thing.
No, I just didn't.
I don't think you added the copy, the copies of alter database, add file groups. I don't think you just have the files, you don't have the file groups. You have to add each one and then change the group. So,
Did mine also say the file, mine also has the same error that yours has about the, same thing, the file, since that's error of the
yeah,
file.
so.
Yeah, I didn't.
Every single one of them?
Let's go through.
Oh, yeah, I guess that, I did.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
let's see if I can-
Yeah, I do.
Mine is two alter databases back to back for each group. So the one that actually creates the file group and then the file back again. Okay, so I have two alter databases back to back for each
Really?
period. First one creates file group.
Okay,
And the second one,
creates the file name.
yeah.
Yeah, if you go to the configuration of the other services.
This,
Yeah.
License.
Yeah.
So I really needed to copy all of this. I didn't copy.
So who else has errors?
Do I,
Yeah, it's still there.
I have, do I have to have two alter databases here?
Yes, you have to have two alter databases. A lot of you, what you did is you copied just to add files, but you actually have to add the group each
I
time.
think I did.
Your error session didn't list
But you know what I didn't do? I didn't write an alter database here to begin with,
Yeah, that might be
in the
the
very
problem.
first one.
Right.
Okay, no problem, I'll just.
Yeah, so for each of these, we need to alter the database,
That's
add the group, then alter the database, add the file.
Got it. Makes sense.
No, we really need is the alter database.
Once to add the group and another time to add the file.
After that, add file.
So this, so I need that right here.
That line is mine.
Would yours work okay?
What's going on is that your alter database right here. There's no database name after that.
Add the file name.
Yeah, it's getting confused because it's not getting the, you haven't put in the database name.
You need
Okay.
one more partition in there.
No, just alter database, play partition.
So I would see if I could keep another last page.
And then I goes, oh, okay,
The one
okay,
that-
this is a database.
See?
They're all
Oh, I know what I'm doing.
See?
And then,
Something's still
there we
not
go.
happening, right? I think I got it right, so alter database, add file, here we go, alter database, add file, right?
Right.
And so, no, it's not like you add that.
It should be all right. Oh, give the database name,
It's still a little red down.
Yeah.
What's that? I'm sorry.
the database name. Alter database employee partition.
Error, stupid. Okay, that's fine. Oh, that would make sense.
Now you can, is that, yeah. Hit all of them. Yay. Who else is still? Did you need,
That's better.
Yeah, restarted it.
you had problems?
Now.
So you have to do the partitions twice. Yeah, you said you had to do the.
Isn't that weird? I wonder if he's. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You're just trying to run.
Did you do that on the very beginning? That if exists and then drop it? Just one about databases where name equals that. and then mute yourself.
It's just weird, like, it's like,
Drop
it's not,
and go create employee partition rule, and then alter database.
I also
File group employee
wanted to take ownership.
employees 1995 group.
If it's something weird.
Oh, that's it there.
Take ownership usually means that the other copy is somewhere else.
S on employees on line 12.
Well, it's like, yeah,
Need-
usually
that's
that's that on your own
So
computer.
maybe something that was typed later. Yes, and then maybe look at your maybe that's.
Looks like you're adding 95 twice. On line 12 and then on line 16.
Yeah, because your file group is named, excuse me, employees 95 groups, so that should run now. Because you created a. Well, this won't run if your naming conventions aren't the same, because I think it says that. Down here.
It's probably basically probably the same for each year. You add.
Oh, you found it?
So if you copy the file path from the
I was
blog,
down there, I didn't see it.
the main problem is that I am running SQL Server 2016 at home. So this is 13 and it should be 12. So the one on the blog says 13, and yours should be 12. It's the version. I'm running a newer version. SQL Server 2016 isn't an official version.
But since we took ours from these computers. it'll
Yeah,
be-
since it took it from this computer, it should be fine.
Oh, I see, if we copy the code.
If you copy the code from the blog, this will fail because the version number is wrong twice.
And keep that the go as well.
Yeah, the Go doesn't matter. It won't do anything.
But it's there, and sometimes it won't work without it.
Sometimes it won't. So what the Go does is it's a batch separator. And what it says is that the code before the Go has to be fully executed before it'll move on to the next statement.
You don't have to do a go in the beginning of the next one unnecessarily.
No, I mean, and actually, weirdly, it's hard to tell when you need it, when you don't sometimes. You do need it between, yeah.
Is it kind of like a semicolon, or is Go have?
You know, it is kind of the effect of a semicolon, because most other versions of SQL, non-Microsoft, do not have the Go keyword. They have semicolons to terminate statements.
Okay.
And Microsoft ignores, this environment ignores the semicolon, whether it's there or not. So the Go, it actually probably would not be a bad habit to put like semicolons on these, just because in other environments you have to.
I didn't use Go in my statements. I used.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Go is necessary in any of these. Sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. There are certain batches that it is required, they have to be in their own batch, and they have to have a Go before and a Go after. Creating a stored procedure or such a thing, or creating a function, or creating a table for that matter. Actually, creating a table is not so much, but creating a stored procedure or function requires it. There's a few other instances. I often find that you need this Go before create database, after create database, because it'll start to do the other things before the database is created. So I'll get errors like you can't add this table because the database doesn't exist. But if you put the Go there, it makes sure that the database is finished before it tries to run the create tables. All right, I wanted to show you what this looks like graphically. So if I refresh over here, and maybe I'll run the Zoom for this. All right, so there is now an employee partition. And if I right-click on it and look at the properties, so now in this Zoom mode, I have to find it. All right, so if we look at files, you'll see that we have lots of files, and they're in different groups. And I can expand that a little bit. This is a place where you can see that if you totally screwed up, it might be time to fix it and run it. But we have all these different groups, and then we have these files over here. You have to do this if you're going to partition. So one of the lessons is if you're building a database for a company, you have to decide as you're creating it whether or not you want to do this. Now, it is possible to go in later, create a new table. You can add the file things after the database exists. But if you want to partition a table, you would have to drop the table, recreate it with the partitions, or create a new table with the partitions and copy all the data over. Right? So it's just good to know ahead of time if you're going to do this. And again, the reasons why you would do this are if you know you're going to have some really big tables and you know you want to partition across disks. Does that make sense? And across files. Making a database like this, though, when we do the next thing, restore and backup, this makes restore and backup much more of a pain. Because you have to restore up all, you have to back up all the files and file groups.
Okay, so I got a question that maybe you probably just haven't addressed quite yet. But say these tables are really big, and I do a query that only includes, say, 2015 employees. Would it only search the 2015?
You can, yeah, I'm going to actually show you how to do that, how to search just one partition. And then it's much faster, right? So if you don't have to search for every partition, so you can still search the entire table, even though it's split up into multiple physical files. Open question that I don't know the answer to, does that slow things down for a full table search? Because you have more file I/O? I would think it would, but I don't know. But if you're searching a partition, you don't have to handle all the data. You can just search within that partition. Okay, so we've made these. We haven't actually partitioned anything yet.
Of these partitions by those logical groups, like employees from year, where they're going to be searched by those groups mostly. Is that the main reason for doing the partition?
Yeah, mostly it's a matter, again, of it's for performance when you have really massively large tables. Yeah, and if you logically know how you want to break it up, like a date is how we're going to break it up. That's one logical way. You can also just randomly break it up on each table will have, I don't know, 100,000 records, and you could break it on the key field or something, on an integer. It has to be a numeric. Does that make sense? Numeric or date. Dates are numeric. So you can, it has to be a numeric field that you break down.
Steve,
Yeah.
how do you go to data policy?
Go to where?
The window UI.
You just right click on, so you first you have to refresh.
Okay.
And then right click on employee partition and then just choose properties and files. You can also look under file groups if you want, which will show all the file groups that we made. And you could have done it there, right? Like last time, we could have made all of these there. All right, I'm going to unzoom. So the next part of this is just the laying it up, is we need to create a partition function and a partition schema. These are the parts that actually can't be done without in the GUI. There's no way to do them. The first part we could have done with the graphical stuff. So I'm going to just write create partition function. So, and that's what we'll start with, is actually say create partition function. Oh, before we do this, we have to use employee partition because we're in master, right? I'm going to execute that so that we're in, because you want to write this to, that we need to give it a name. And I'm going to say FX hire date. I just like to do functions with FX. You don't have to. Don't call it hire date. Well, actually, it's fair. Hire date would work if you don't do the FX. It's because you don't want it the same name as the field. Is all. It's employee hire date, so it'd be all right. So yeah, hire date. And then we need to say what the data type is going to be. And I'm going to do date. And how do I know what data type it's going to be? Is I look at employee table, and it has a date for this, for the hire date. It's not a date time, it's just date. Okay, and then I'm going to do as range left. Anybody have an idea what range left might mean in this? It means you put a date and it will go previous, it's the outer leftmost date. Does that make sense? If you did range right, then it would be the starting date. It's arbitrary which one you want to work with. So I think when you say range left, basically I think that you're saying what the termination date for that section will be. Which means I probably put the wrong dates in here, but I'm going to go with them anyway. Then I'm going to put 4 values, and I'm going to put in the dates. So I did 1994. I might play with these. Do you see the pattern of that date? It's year, month, day. Yeah, New Year's Eve. And as I said, I think I probably put in the wrong, I put in 1995. Did I put 5? I put 4 in my blog.
Oh, that's one.
As I said, I may have put the wrong dates in here for the different groups, but that's okay. 1999. And again, it needs to be quoted. 1231 for each of them. And then I did 4 12. I think this would work better, but I'm gonna, because I know they worked. So that's the function. And it's actually not the integer value of the data.
The 2015 group to the.
So you actually have to have one left. And I'm not entirely sure. I guess it's for overflow.
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, it would lead to a.
So I mean, okay, and then make sure you partition. Yeah, it's delimiting the ends of this. As I said, I think my dates are wrong. I should have gone up a year on each one of them, because I think was thinking right hand while doing left hand. Does that make sense? It'll work, and I'm going with it because I know it'll work. But I do think in my mind when I look at it now, I think I got the dates wrong. In the Object Explorer, let's zoom up a little bit for this. So under Employee Partition, tables. Oh, we haven't created the table yet, but they should be in here. Yeah, partition functions. It's under storage because it's about file management, right? So the partition function. We've also got to create the partition schema. That's the next part. Are you guys with me? This is actually the tricky part, then the rest isn't so tricky. So I'm going to say create partition schema. And I'll call it SCH hire date. Oh, yours is okay. So as partition, and then you want the function fx hire date. So we're saying what we're doing it on. And then we do two, and we use those groups that we did. So I'm going to do employees 1995 group. And then I think I'm just going to copy this and change the year. So the next one was 2000, right? $2005. I'm going to, I will word wrap, but I'm going to break the line there. Control V. 2010. Question, or you got? Oh. I'll hold when we get here. Oh, no, that's right, 2. Why does it not like that?
We run it. Oh, didn't we do it?
Yeah, you did it. There's a typo in the
Not really. Let's do
Schema or scheme.
I do.
And the spelling.
Yeah, but it's happier with scheme.
So scheme is okay.
I think it is. When I do that, it gives me an error. So I think the blog is right.
The word scheme isn't lit up in blue.
Yeah, but I still think it's correct. I'm going to do a quick, says the command.
Schema. Isn't it supposed to be schema or schema?
It's scheme. If I do schema, it gives me errors. If I do scheme, which is actually what's in the blog, and if I check the syntax here, it says that it's right.
So should we run it?
Yeah, let's try running it.
Maybe it's called a partition scheme.
Yeah, must be.
So can you explain that? I understand what the functions it said. This is where you're gonna delimit each one of the
So
partitions.
the
What does the schema do?
So notice this gives you the literal dates that we're gonna break on.
Mhm.
This gives the file groups we're gonna break it into.
Thank you.
And it uses the function, notice? So it's the scheme uses the function to split the stuff up onto the things. Now, what we have to do now is create a table that uses this scheme. The easiest way to create the table, because we're just going to use the employee table, right? So I am going to go to Metro Alt. I used Metro Alt here rather than Community Assist because really Community Assist doesn't have enough records to make this worth doing in any way. I'm going to do tables. I'm going to go to employee. And I'm going to, I mean, we could write this out by hand, but it's always nice to just script table as create to, and I'm going to go to clipboard this time. So what I did, I right-clicked on employee table, script table as create to, and then what I did is I just did add as clipboard, so I can paste it into here. So doing that, I should be able to just do Control V, and we have the employee table there. Now, once again, I would get rid of the defaults. I don't want a primary key. I'm going to get rid of all of this stuff. I am going to put so I'm going to close that. I'm not going to make this an identity because we're just going to import the numbers that are already there. Oops. Other than that, it should be fine. And we can even name it as employee because it don't run it yet though, because we have one more thing to add to it. We have to add the partition schema to it. Okay, so to add the partition schema to it, we just say on scheme SCH hire date. And then we need to give it the date that we're using, which is employee, can't type. So we're saying split it by those dates that we used in the function based on the employee hire date. Right, it needs to know which field. And with this tells that we're doing it on the schema that we created. Does that make sense? Our scheme. When I run this, okay. Now there's no data in here, so nothing's split up yet, right? So the next thing we'll do is we'll insert into this new employee table. Did it work? What was failing?
It's so weird that it's giving you the right one.
Oh, don't be in Metro Alt.
Why don't know? That's because that's
Oh,
why.
what
I
is
guess
yours?
just use
We should be in employee partition.
You think employee partition has that much table in it?
It has no tables in it. Get rid of invalid object name.
Yeah.
Employees 2005 group in your groups. 2005. Let's look at employees 2005. Let's look at something down below. I don't know how much to find. You didn't use Metro Alt, right? It says your employee. Did you, so Yeah. Let's just do this and see what happens. Valid partition scheme. Did you run the partition scheme? Well, but that failed because of the groove.
Yeah.
We ran this one, right?
Don't tell them.
Yeah, this is not like that. This is not like that.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, but
Yeah,
it's-
so it's a much more straight, get it.
now it should work.
Thanks.
You should be able to run the table.
So I found something that I didn't delete.
Get rid of the comma at the end. Okay, so we got also table, actually create table.
I created it already, and I did not delete it. I didn't declare, so I deleted it, and I wanted to
So drop the table and then run it again.
try that. It didn't. It wasn't popular.
You can't drop the whole thing. Just run that very first one. And then create table.
Okay, great.
Okay. What?
Yeah.
Oh, so don't run it.
Um,
Oh, so it says you need an enterprise. Yeah, all of that stuff.
you don't need this. You don't need this. Wait.
Okay, are we ready? So what we want to do now is just to insert into this table. So I'm going to insert into employee. And the easiest way to do this, to get the fields that you want to insert into, is if you open the employees and grab the columns folder and just drag it.
Oh, that's right, you said. Employees.
Object Explorer. I'm going to do it again. And this time what we need to do is say from alt .dbo .employee. A moment. So basically we're inserting into our employee and inserting all the records from the employee table in Metro Alt. So a copy of our Metro Alt table.
Created.
Yeah, it's the table we just created, right?
Called it employee or employee?
I just called it employee. If you named it
Oh, that's right.
differently,
That one up there. Oh, you should have called it something else because it's kind of into the new employee. Select all the data.
so we select all the same
Same.
fields
Okay.
from Metro Alt.dbo
But then
.employee.
without that, we don't need to use this. From the employee table in Metro.
in Metro, right? To get the fields, just drag the columns. Drag the columns folder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can run this.
500 goes. Do you have, yes, this in your Gmail account.
So I'm just going to select star from employee. This is from the local one in employee partition, and it should have all. When you just do a general select, right, it doesn't show any partitions. It just shows you the 500 records. But I'll show you how to query individual partitions.
That's everything. ZLREM, right? O2.
Are we ready?
Well, I usually would write like an arrow when I insert.
Right, if it's not selected. Wow. Okay, yes, it is. You created a table. So we need to look at the error. The table of error. We need to. I just removed the
You have
employee
your
key.
employee key one.
I had it because I took the identity out.
Oh, I see. I didn't put the identity.
Okay. So I'm going to do select star from employee, and then I'm going to do where, and I'm going to do a $ partition .fx hire date.
Is it underscore?
Yeah, there should be a underscore there. And employee hire date. And let's do the second equals 2. That's the second partition. So if I select that, there's 116 rows instead of 500. And if you notice, all the dates are between 1995 and 1999.
And the equals 2 is the second.
That's which partition is it?
Okay.
This is numerically which partition is it?
So this
The
is-
primary partition is 1, or is, it might be 0. I'm not sure. We may have missed a partition when we did this, but
This is 95
I think it's 1.
to 99.
Yeah, this is 95 to 1999.
So the very first one.
So if I do this one, if I do it as 3,
It'll be
it should be from 2000 to 2004, basically.
That's great.
So in this way, you can search for in partitions, one partition at a time. And if you did the next one, it'd be if you did 4.
It's just a lot of spaces.
So, employee P3, what's that mean? Oh,
Like the third partition or the fourth partition.
Yeah. So these are the numbers of the partition, like the index numbers of the partition. I don't know what happens if we do 5. Let's see. There might be nothing on it. Might be something on it. I don't know.
Why do we do 4 years in the number on 122 and 5 years on 126?
Because I'm inconsistent. Yeah, there is stuff on 5. This is all the stuff from 214. Everything up to. Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Plus, we'll make this bigger. I have.
All right. Oh, this should be 2009, yeah.
And then 2010 on that.
Yeah. So that's how you query, and you know, if you wanted to look for something in particular in there, you could also say and employee city not equal Seattle. Actually, we need employees city. Just to show you can add other criteria in there. So everybody down here is in Kent or Bellevue or Tukwila. So I'm not querying the whole table, I'm only querying that one partition. That's the whole partition assignment. I mean, it's not the assignment, but that's the practice. Now, the assignment is basically create a new database with 5 file groups. If you want to do that with script, you can, or if you want to do it in the designer, I don't care. If you do it in the designer, give me a picture of the designer for that. Create a table for partition for, so we want to divide the partition, create a partition, which means a partition function and a partition scheme. On this time, just use the bus route shift assignment date in the bus route. Bus route.
Or bus route, yeah.
Yeah, bus route assignment table.
Bus route.
And then basically you just want to divide it up into these years. But again, do the numbers like we did before, right? The 2012, 1231, or whatever you want to do. Maybe you can fix the dates so they make more sense, but something. It actually has more records. It actually is starting to, it's still kind of small for what to actually partition, but it's got like 360,000. I think it's bus route assignment. Let me look. So in Metro Alt, bus schedule assignment.
Oh, so it is that, it's not route.
Yeah, and then there's a bus schedule assignment date. Sure.
So when I accepted it, it was.
Well, this one's quoted from Metropolitan. So you ran this one, right? And it's not there. Oh, campus student identity. So I think the problem is that we never got the data. Let's just get rid of employee key. It's easier to drop in and recreate it. Now. Yeah, we're. Now, if it may be the last thing we do today, but if you guys are really quick, we might do something else. Actually, let's just make it the last thing we do today. I'm exhausted. You guys probably are too.
Is equal for each other every time you don't push us for your.
Well, we're actually, if you look at the schedule, I mean, although I make up the schedule in my head a month, before the time, but we're a little ahead of it, so this will put us more back on time.
Yeah, we decided to start doing until Thursdays.
Yeah.
It was time.
Now I would post this online, but it's already there, so